Saudi Arabia rematch? Is a no-go. Ruiz vs Joshua 2. I call the shots now, says Andy Ruiz Jr. This is the topic being discussed today on Stick to the Jab Boxing. Boxing fans. Is Andy Ruiz Jr. getting cold feet? There is a dilemma facing the Andy Ruiz vs Anthony Joshua rematch that was proposed to take place December 7 in Diriyah, Saudi Arabia. Earlier this week, Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua's manager and promoter for Matchroom Sport Limited, held a press conference to announce the fight date and to inform boxing fans that Saudi Arabia was the chosen location for the rematch. So what has happened to Andy Ruiz's attitude since the first fight? Ruiz shocked the world on June 1, 2019, by defeating Anthony Joshua at Madison Square Gardens in New York, taking his WBA, Super, IBF, WBO, and IBO heavyweight titles. Since defeating Anthony Joshua, Ruiz appears to be a changed man, with a new outlook and an unapologetic attitude. Gee. What happened to the quiet, humble, kind and appreciative boxer we know as Andy Ruiz Jr.? Maybe it was all just an act. Now Ruiz appears to be cocky, boisterous, and heavily outspoken. Has money changed the Mexican champion? Before the first fight, both fighters entered into a contract agreement that was for a title fight between Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. There were specifically outlined terms and conditions put into place by Eddie Hearn and the Joshua team. In other words, this is considered to be a clause, which was meant to protect and ensure that Anthony Joshua would get an immediate rematch if he lost the bout. Andy Ruiz was given what is called a fixed guarantee. He would receive around $7 million for the fight, and then if he won, and there was a rematch, he would receive that predetermined amount of around $9 million. So, either someone is dodging, someone is lying, or someone is getting cold feet. Maybe Ruiz isn't the big man on campus, after all. Eddie Hearn has been making every attempt to make this fight happen. He has made suggestions for the fight to take place in New York, Cardiff, Wales, Wembley Stadium, and now Saudi Arabia, but Andy Ruiz has not agreed to fight anywhere other than New York, the same city in which he upset Anthony Joshua for the titles. This is a recent quote by promoter Eddie Hearn on the matter. He, Ruiz, signed a contract with us that he was absolutely over the moon with, that gave him the opportunity of a lifetime. He will 100% honor that contract. On the flip side, in a nutshell, it's called breach of contract. So, Andy Ruiz, honor your agreement or your word won't stand on a grain of sand if you don't. What will this holdout crap do for your future business dealings? Why would anybody trust you after this, and why would you be foolish enough to even attempt to jeopardize your legacy and career over it? It's better to have many multiple big paydays and mega fights rather than one or two big ones, in the long run. Isn't it? Why risk facing a legal battle and court proceedings that could potentially put you out of boxing for years? Why risk your cash flow and newfound wealth? You have an opportunity to be listed amongst the true boxing greats if you continue on the right path. Don't burn bridges. Say what you want about Eddie Hearn. Overall, he is a very fair promoter, and he is out there helping a lot of boxers raise their profile and receive record paydays. Don't bite the hands that have blessed you. Need I remind you of the many boxers of the past that have played hardball and, or were involved in shady ethics, or made unethical business dealings? Where are some of them today? I'll tell you where. Most are broke, busted and disgusted. That's where? Don't become another boxing tragedy story. You're better than that. Why tarnish your career and risk losing a ton of dough over ignorance? Remember, AJ could have chosen anyone else. You were blessed because of this. Look at what it's done for your life overall. It's called short-term sacrifice for long-term gain, but greed will leave you on the outside, friend. Before the Joshua fight, and by his admission, Andy Ruiz said that he was struggling financially. Anthony Joshua was originally slated to face Joel Big Baby Miller on June 1, 2019, But Miller got popped by VADA, Voluntary Anti-Doping Association. Miller was denied a license by the New York State Athletic Commission because he failed 3 different tests for having PS in his system. So, many other pro boxers were considered to face Anthony Joshua, including Manuel Charr, Ivan Dichko, Dillian Whyte and of course Luis Ortiz. Eddie Hearn reportedly spoke to 16 heavyweights in the space of a 24-hour time period. Eddie Hearn was committed to not disappoint boxing fans around the world. He promised that Joshua would still fight on the date, June 1, 2019, as over 17,000 tickets had already been sold, with 10,000 of those being from Great Britain alone. Luis King Khan Ortiz was the first name that Joshua wanted as a replacement for Miller. On April 22, Andy Ruiz confirmed his team had a meeting scheduled with Matchroom boxing promoter Eddie Hearn. This officially put him in the front running. So then, Ruiz became the go-to guy, after it was reported that Luis Ortiz's team had rejected 2 big career-high purses to fight Joshua. A huge mistake, in my opinion. Sound familiar? Again, another boxer who lost out on an opportunity of a lifetime. It has even been reported that Ruiz was even considering leaving the sport before the bout. He also changed promoters as well. Hear this, fight fans. Let's cut to the chase and face straight facts. Anthony Joshua's team gave Andy Ruiz Jr. a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The type of opportunity that could change someone's life, permanently. For the better, Big Tex says this. Andy Ruiz Jr., you defeated Anthony Joshua fair and square in the middle of the ring. It doesn't matter whether it was a fluke, or because AJ had a bad night or the possibility that the stars were perfectly aligned in the sky that night. Fact is, you won, and you won in convincing fashion. Nobody can ever take that away from you, but brother, remember where you came from. No disrespect to you, but prior the AJ fight things weren't going all that great for you. Your fight purses were nothing to write home about, and even your promoters were writing you off. Hardcore boxing fans knew about you, they knew about your high boxing IQ, your quick hand speed, and your heavily underrated power, but the fact is this, most people including your handlers weren't expecting you to win that fight on June 1st. We here, at Stick to the Jab Boxing have followed your entire career and personally rate you, but now it's time to do the right thing. Andy Ruiz, you became the first ever Mexican heavyweight champion of the world. Congratulations, and much respect for accomplishing that great feat. It was truly remarkable. But now, represent that champ. Your country, your family, boxing fans, and your supporters around the world are counting on you to honor your previous contractual obligations to Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, and Matchroom Boxing. You are now in the history books, you are now a big-time celebrity. Not trying to get up in your business, but your life has changed a lot for the better. You were able to buy yourself, your children, and your family nice things and right some wrongs along the way. I'm sure that your market value has risen higher than the stock market overnight. You are essentially an overnight boxing sensation. So, prove who you are. Prove yourself. Not just once, come correct, and beat AJ in the rematch. After all, you are the Mexican warrior and your style is so unique. You have an opportunity to rule the division. Up until now, AJ has been the man. Period, in the heavyweight division. If you think that I am wrong, prove me wrong. So Ruiz, now it's time to truly prove to the world that you are the best. Leave no doubt in the minds of your boxing fans. I beg you, do not tarnish your legacy. You can't get it back. What are you after, being remembered as a champ, or a chump? Now for some more straight facts. Anthony Joshua has proven himself as a heavyweight. His resume speaks for itself. The guy's only had 22 or 23 fights. Just look at the boxers that he has defeated: Klitschko, Parker, Takam, Povetkin, Martin, Breazeale. In my opinion, AJ still runs things in the heavyweight division. Like him, or hate him, criticize him or not, nobody generates as much buzz, intrigue, and cash flow as Anthony Joshua, the landlord, aka the cash cow. Who else do you ask? Who? Deontay Wilder? Tyson Fury? That remains to be seen. On a side note, big up, the YB, and Boxing Squared. Bottom line is this, in order for Andy Ruiz to be considered to be the man, in the heavyweight division, he's not only going to have to defeat Anthony Joshua convincingly, in the rematch, but he also has to chalk up some big wins over heavyweights that are rated in the top 10 rankings. Not an easy task. Your name simply can't be great until you consistently beat the best of your era. Hashtag, Evander Holyfield, hashtag, Vladimir Klitschko. Yes, styles make fights, but how will Andy Ruiz fare against other top heavyweights in the division? That remains to be seen. If you disagree, that's okay. This is the heavyweight division, people, one punch is all it takes. It's like slipping on a banana peel. You see, Ruiz still has some proving to do in the heavyweight division, in my opinion. So, Ruiz, prove to the boxing world that you are the real deal, and not some flash in the pan that got lucky on June 1st. What is with the PBC, Al Haymon and the fighters that they represent? Why is it so hard to do business with them overall? Pro boxing can be a dirty business at times, but their business dealings always seem to be on the slim shady side of things, on the high end of the pressure gauge. What about the Deontay Wilder vs Anthony Joshua situation? Please. This is self-explanatory, need I say any more? You see, the issue doesn't stop there. It goes further. Who is Andy Ruiz Jr.? What happened to your humbleness, integrity, kindness, values, principles, moral code, and scruples? The question is this, did you lose them when AJ knocked you down in the first fight, or did you, truly, have them, to begin with? Conclusion. Let's put the lid on the bottle. Final thoughts from Big Tex. In Andy Ruiz's defense, who are the sanctioning bodies in Saudi Arabia? Finding and organizing ringside doctors and judges would be a relatively easy task. But, then this begs the question. Who does the drug and anti-doping tests in Saudi Arabia? It's not like pro boxing is a regular thing over there. As far as I know, there is no VADA testing in place in Saudi Arabia. Maybe it's just me. I'm in no way suggesting or insinuating that any of these fighters would be high risk for taking illegal drugs or PEDs. Hey, I'm personally a huge fan of both of these guys, but come on. You just can't be too sure these days with so many boxers getting popped, and failing random drug tests, as of late. Also, does Saudi Arabia have a commission? Who is the commissioner over there? What are they going to do? Have a pre-selected mobile commission in place for the fight? And in regards to the travel thing and safety issues. No disrespect to Saudi Arabia or the Middle East in general, but a lot of things happen in that region. Just facts, and so things do happen on that side of the world. If it didn't, a lot of countries wouldn't be issuing the warnings that they have about flying to those regions of the world. So, security risks would be a valid argument for Andy Ruiz to not accept the fight. Do you think that they would have let Muhammad Ali fight in Africa as the region was deemed a security risk? The answer is no. So, why should Ruiz? If I were in Andy Ruiz's position, I would be concerned about safety as well. And then, there's Matchroom Boxing. You held a press conference to announce the fight date with none of the participating boxers present. Are the contracts for the event signed? If not, then why announce a fight date and location? This isn't fair to Ruiz, or boxing fans alike. Did Eddie Hearn jump the gun a bit? Or, are they trying to muscle and pressure Ruiz into accepting their terms and conditions? This could be the reason why they are experiencing resistance from the Ruiz team. Also, I guess there would be no ring girls in the arena on that night. Also, what about the female members of the media? Do you mean to tell me that there would be no Michelle Joy Phelps on the scene? You've lost me already. Hello, Michelle. Just saying. Boxing fans. You be the judge? Do you think that this is all just a ploy to hype up, and pump up the Ruiz vs Joshua 2 rematch? Or do you think that Andy Ruiz's handlers have a hand in all of this? Should Ruiz try to be more cooperative and accommodating to help this fight get made? Your thoughts, views, and opinions matter to us here. Please leave your comments in the comment section upon completion of this video. If you're new, please support our channel. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe and hit the bell notification to be notified of our upcoming videos. This is Big Tex signing out for Stick to the Jab Boxing.